Hello and welcome to our daily Africa Cup of Nations show here on France 24. Egypt and Mohamed Salah are through to the final after beating host Cameroon on penalties after a scrappy contest between the tournament's two most successful teams, setting up a tantalising finale between Senegal and Egypt on Sunday. We'll be crossing shortly to our sports editor Simon Harding, who was watching that game in Yaoundé for us. And I'm also joined here in the studio for more analysis by Eurosport journalist Ruben Slagter.
Yeah, still awake, so let's go.
And let's get straight to that game there. The Pharaohs have sent the hosts Cameroon home after winning 3-1 in a penalty shootout as the pair played out a goalless draw. The hosts had the better of the chances overall in the first half, with Egypt's talisman Mohamed Salah staying quiet for most of the game. An overall lacklustre 90 minutes had an ill-tempered ending as Egypt coach Carlos Queiroz was sent off. The hero of the hour, however, was the Egyptian goalkeeper Gabaski, who saved 2 penalties. For more on that game, let's cross straight to our sports editor Simon Harding in Yaoundé. Simon, it wasn't the prettiest of things to watch this evening, but Egypt did the job.
The Egyptian fortress resisting every attempt by the Cameroonian battering ram to smash it down. That's probably the best way to put it, Selina, because time and time again, the Cameroon strikers had no way through a tight and solid defence. We spoke in the build-up to the game when we previewed this match that it would be a case of seeing whether or not Egypt could maintain this compact unit that has seen them reach the semi-finals and now the final, and they won the challenge. Carlos Queiroz winning his tactical battle with Conceição and a Cameroonian side that they will be bitterly disappointed that they weren't able to inject more pace, a little bit more threat in their attack, because they started the game brightly. As you mentioned, they hit the crossbar in the first 15 minutes. Vincent Aboubakar had a half chance. Zambo Anguissa had a half chance himself, but they were just unable to get the final touch on the ball on what was a really poor pitch, which didn't help any attacking football because the players were consistently losing their feet. But for Egypt, it is an opportunity now to win and extend their winning record in the Africa Cup of Nations to 8 titles, and they'll be facing a Senegal side that has never won it. And of course, it's also a duel possibly between the 2 best players in the world at the moment, teammates, brothers in arms for Liverpool, but certainly very much opponents on the night on Sunday here at the OLEMBE Stadium for this mouth-watering final to come between the Lions of Teranga and the Pharaohs.
Indeed, lots to be looking forward to. And just a quick mention for that very heroic performance from the keeper, Gabaski, who played a key role in Egypt's victory this evening.
Absolutely sensational performance in the penalty shootout by Gabaski. Stopped the very tame effort by Moukoudi, Saint-Etienne's man, with a dreadful penalty, one of the worst we've seen for a long, long time. It was then an excellent save, however, from James Siliki's penalty to make it, to put Egypt in that 3-1 position, and then Clinton Ng's effort, which went over the crossbar, just the cherry on the cake for the Egyptians. Gabaski had very little to do during the game, but he's a keeper that's really responded when he needed to for the Pharaohs. Let's not forget the penalty he saved on Eric Bailly in the last 16 in that tie, which Egypt took to extra time. So a few saves as well against Morocco in the quarterfinals. But in the absence of El Shanawi, who's usually Egypt's #1, then the Pharaohs' substitute goalkeeper is the hero once again for his side. And he will be, of course, one to watch, because the confidence taking that into the final match will be huge for Egypt, even though, and this is important, Selina, Egypt will have played 90 extra minutes, so the equivalent of a full extra game going into the final. And we can't discount how important that could be going forwards.
Of course, and we'll be touching more on that final that we have to look forward to later on in the show with you, Simon. Back to you shortly. And for more reaction now, we're going to, from that exit in the cruelest of circumstances for the host, let's now cross to our correspondent, Claudia Ensono, from the fan zone in Yaoundé. Claudia, there was so much expectation riding on this Cameroon side on home soil. There must be a lot of disappointed fans this evening.
Absolutely. The disappointment is huge. The fans of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon are more than disappointed after Cameroon lost to Egypt this evening. I mean, there was a lot of excitement, very contagious jubilation here when the match began. But all of that quickly disappeared and was replaced with disappointment, a lot of frustration and anger. I mean, all of the fans that were here at this fan zone have deserted the area. And this is a reflection of what's happening at the OLEMBE Stadium, different fan zones across the countries, bars, streets, just every corner of Cameroon. The fans are massively disappointed. Well, with the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon now out of the way, Egypt is set to confront the Teranga Lions of Senegal on Sunday at the OLEMBE Stadium. And this match is going to be a must-win for Sadio Mané's Senegal, which has qualified for the finals of the tournament for the third time this year. But unfortunately, they've never been able to enjoy the joy of lifting the very prestigious AFCON trophy. So while they'll be trying this year to make history for their country, the Pharaohs of Egypt will definitely also be struggling to make history for themselves, to push the title of being the most decorated African nations team to their 8th title this year. So Sunday's match is a must-watch because either way, history is going to be made.
Sorry, a mouth-watering final to be looking forward to. And of course, the host Cameroon will be playing in that third place playoff against Burkina Faso on Saturday. Thank you to Claudia for joining us at that fan zone in Yaoundé. I'm now going to cross to Ruben in the studio. Ruben, there was a lot of excitement for this being a big blockbuster with the two most successful teams in this tournament facing off each other for a place in the final, but it was pretty lackluster this evening.
Yeah, well, we have to blame Egypt, but also we have to give them credit for it because that's how they've won all their matches so far. They've eliminated the Ivory Coast and then afterwards Morocco and then now Cameroon, and that's really impressive, you have to say. But they also did it in the same way every match. It's just taking out the energy of the opponents. They know exactly how to stop them. We heard Simon say that it was Carlos Queiroz who won the tactical battle. Maybe we could also say that Conceição lost it because his team wasn't able to get any chances, especially after during the second half and extra time. And then we saw it at the penalties as well. There were three players who missed. They were all players who came on for Cameroon. And all the three players, at least when we were watching it together, we were like, are those the players who have to shoot a penalty? So it was clear that Egypt was better prepared for this match than Cameroon. And okay, I don't think that they will mind a lot. It's also not that strange that after 2 matches with extra time already before that they didn't want to, well, play it as energetically as we've seen yesterday between Senegal and Burkina Faso. But yeah, as a match, it was quite disappointing. But yeah, Egypt, they won't mind.
We'll hopefully be looking forward to a better showdown on Sunday. Let's now cross back to Simon. And this was the first match that was played back in OLEMBE since that deadly stampede, which saw 8 people lose their lives. And this stadium is also set to host the final on Sunday. Simon, you were there, obviously, for that game and for the return of fans at the stadium. How did things seem to you?
Well, the security perimeter around the stadium and the amount of personnel available to create checkpoints, to control the fans in and out of the ground was increased tenfold, it must be said. So credit there must be given to CAF and to the Cameroonian authorities for reacting to, of course, an event, a tragedy which should never have happened in the first place. This OLEMBE stadium, this wonderful stadium, beautiful stadium, was meant to be the crown jewel of this Africa Cup of Nations compared and described by many as the most beautiful stadium in Africa, but it will nonetheless have the etiquette or this darker cloud over it of the tragedy that happened on the 26th of January. What we can say, though, is that for sure the police, the perimeter was widened. It was much more difficult to access the stadiums. The check were were a lot more at length. They were enforced in a proper way. So, but that reflected also in the attendance. Only 26,000 people in the stadium, and it's a 60,000 capacity stadium, when for the Cameroon's previous games we had up to 60, 70,000. So yes, you gain in security, but certainly the atmosphere took a hit as well.
Certainly, even though I think the fans did try to make up for it in the stadium. There was obviously a lot of chanting going on that we could certainly hear on our end. Ruben, as Simon has already mentioned, this really sets up a tantalising showdown between Liverpool's two star forwards, Sadio, Mané and Salah. We've got hopefully a bit of a treat on our plates.
Yeah, it's the final we all been looking out for. I mean, Senegal, the pre-tournament favourites with Algeria. Yeah, Algeria, where are they? But still, yeah, what a story that was. But yeah, now Senegal is still there, and Egypt as the record holder. So that will be really interesting. And of course, between those two superstars. And the interesting thing is that they have had quite a different tournament. I mean, Sadio Mané is really one of the 11 in the Senegalese team. He is working hard. He is really adding to all the goals and stuff. But Salah is just that one player for Egypt. So it will be really interesting to look and what will happen during that final. If Egypt will try to again what they've did tonight as well, to just prevent them from playing. Or are we going to have a great match like Senegal against Burkina Faso, what we've seen yesterday?
We'll have to wait and see. And let's quickly cross back to Simon, who will be watching that final for us on Sunday. Simon, Senegal are obviously gearing up to hopefully win their first AFCON. It seems surprising to say so, but that's the case. Are they the favourites going into this game?
Absolutely the favourites going into this game, and let's not forget that Senegal were one of the favourites coming into the tournament. They struggled in the group stages with a little bit of COVID cases, but since they've been in the knockout phase, they've really gone up the gears, and Aliou Cissé's team has shown exactly why they were considered the favourites. Once again, I have to come back to this point because Egypt will be carrying some very tired legs going into this final, an extra game essentially played and all the stress that comes with that, but perhaps that will bring a lot of confidence and a never die attitude into the match. But you do feel that if Senegal are able to inject the pace, if they are able to play with the speed and threaten on the wings the way they played against Burkina Faso, then Egypt are going to struggle to contain the Lions of Teranga. On the other hand, you do get the feeling that they might leave themselves open, because we saw a Senegalese side that was very good going forwards, but there are still a little bit of frailties defensively, and perhaps Mohamed Salah, who is the star man for Egypt, as Ruben said, and almost everything good goes through Salah, then he can exploit that.
Lots to be looking forward to with that big clash on Sunday, which we will be covering here on the channel. That brings us to the end of our show for this evening. Thank you to Simon Harding in Yaoundé and Ruben here in the studio. Thank you also for watching. We'll be back on Friday, even if it's a rest day, at the same time and place in Paris and Yaoundé. Until then, stay tuned for more news here on France 24.